Hello and welcome back. I've been alive, and today I'm going to showcase you the Oracle origin. This origin is a little bit erratic and abnormal in a sense, which I will just show you later on. So, see ya. Let's start with the Oracle's lore. Now, the Oracle were created slash mutated the moment that Severus won the duel against Fate on every century dot. And when they were created, all of like the individuality of humans to which what Severus targeted as were wiped out of them, forcing them to obey Severus on whim. And during this time, Severus actually has been mutating the oracle to fit its perfect image, or what Severus sees as perfect. And since the duel with Fate, Severus has been left extremely weak, so it went into hiding and has been just sending the oracles to actually do its job. And I will explain more in the future to what the oracles intended purpose was, and we'll just have to move in with the oracle's abilities. So see you there. Now let's start with the oracle's main downside, and that is Severus connection. Now when you first spawn into the jungle biome, basically this is where you spawn. You gain a bar, this sun bar, that can indicate your connectivity level toward Severus. Now, if you're in a jungle, you actually slowly gain a longer period of time of connectivity towards Severus. But the moment you leave the overgrowth, it actually starts to decrease. Let's see now. Are we outside? Yes, we are. So once that actually reaches zero, let me just force it to go zero. There we go. A different indication will appear and you will lose 5 hearts in total. Now, when you return to the overgrowth, it actually takes a while for you to regain a proper connection to Severus. So even if the bar slowly rise up, let's see, let's give it like 100. Oops. Let's give it 500. Now, the connection will return once you are around 800 ticks into the overgrowth biome or in the jungle biome. And yeah, that's its major downside. I will showcase the next one that helps you out with the connection. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the counterpart of this con about Severus connection. Now, once your sun bar or your connection bar is full while you are in a jungle biome, you actually gain a stack of energy pollen or energy bar, another green bar right there. So if you have at least one of that and your bar gets close to low, it will actually automatically uses the one of those stack from the green bar to fill up your sun bar, your Severus connection. Now, both of this ability, Severus connection and the bar, will automatically move on their own and will stack up and stack down if the certain condition are met. So you don't have to press any buttons, and basically it's just do it for you. And yeah. Okay, let's start with your first positive and your primary key. Now, your primary key has two set of different interaction, or two things can happen depending on the condition of your character. When you're sprinting, you dash in an area you are looking at. This has a shorter cooldown, and when you pass through entities, depending on how many entities you pass through, starting from the second entity, you actually gain a damage boost from 10 to 15 up to 30% max. Now, during your dash, you actually take 75% less damage and you're immune to knockback. And your primary key and your secondary key can be boosted depending on the damage boost that you have. It's complicated, I know. And that's how this origin works. So if I pass through the tree of this origin, I should gain 15%. And if I am not sprinting and I press my secondary key, I actually dash back and deal damage to every entity that are near me. And that's what this primary key does. Let's move on to your secondary key. Let's start with your secondary key. Now, your secondary key would actually deal damage. Wait, let me summon a horse here. Okay, so this horse has that amount of health. So if we actually press our secondary key, we deal damage to entities near us, and it actually removes 3 hearts of the entity's health. As you can see there, so we just have to keep riding this horse until, there we go. We'll have to wait for the duration for it actually. There we go, and its heart is back to normal. Now, it works differently when you're being hit by the Oracle's secondary key. For example, if I got hit by the Oracle's secondary, right? Let me just do this. And let's say it's a full stack. Oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong? This one. And if I come contact with water during this duration, I actually take damage over time. So this actually prevents entities from going to the water for a certain amount of time. If you recognize that sound and those particle effects, those are the damage type that you get when you're a demon touching the Overgrowth's water. So by this concurrent logic, you actually temporarily have that ability, and it just damages you over time. So just be careful around that if you're fighting against the Oracle. And yeah, the Oracle has a very unique interaction with the Flame White origin, and the Oracle can actually counter the Flame White exceedingly well, like badly well. Now, remember, I'm at that Flame White at the moment, and if I throw my projectile at the Overgrowth, it gets destroyed, right? And when you're a Flame White and you've been affected by the Oracle's secondary key, it actually applies the same effect. So if I cast my ability, it actually gets instantly destroyed because of the effect of the Oracle's secondary key. This actually makes the Flame White extremely bad to fight against the Oracle. So keep that in mind. So yeah, let's move on from that. Okay, now it's time to talk about Oracle's another positive. You're immune to the effects of Wither as well as Poison when you're the Oracle. Also, and one more thing, you're actually immune to the Flame White Scorching Blade. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're actually immune to the the effect of the Scorching Blaze caused by the Flame White. So, if I were Power Grant at Polaris, I actually forgot what it's called. White. That's was it like white? That's white. Was it? Let's see. Let me just find it here for one minute. Yeah, apply blaze. It actually gets instantly erased by the what's this? By the Oracle. So keep that in mind. You're immune to the effects of the Flame White. So yeah. Now one of your last positive is called the imposted weight, or was it like the imposter weight? I kind of forgot what it's called. So what this thing does is actually you're just immune to fall damage. So if I TP myself 200 blocks into the sky, I will not die from that. So yep, you're just feel free to fall whenever you want. And that's it for the Oracle's positive. Now, for your first negative, as standard as it may seem, since you belong in the Overgrowth category, and you're also a plant-based kind of origin. It's the anatomy of the oracle is actually really bizarre. The best way to think about it is a human husk with a lot of holes everywhere, and energy, like just energy at like the center of the human husk. And that energy is what we can actually tell as Severus connection. So, your first negative is corrosion towards flame. You take more damage to fire at fire base, and your connection to Severus actually can. No! Anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. Um, since let me just locate the biome for a bit. Locate biome. Jungle. Okay, where was that? Yes. Considering that I keep forgetting my words. Now, you actually take more damage towards fire, and your connection towards Severus rapidly drops when you're taking fire damage, and that all sort of thing. So that's basically your main, like that is like your first negative, and I'll just try to recollect myself because I died, and I'll see you on the final negative of this origin. Okay, I don't know where I died, so let's just move on from that. Now, for your final negative, it's kind of dependent. It's kind of like a little bit unique for a negative. Depending on how you look at it, it may seem like a negative, and it may seem like it's a positive, but in actuality, it's actually a negative. So let's see now. Let me give my wooden sword. When you attack an entity right here, let's see, you gain this sword bar icon that slowly decreases, and what that does is actually prevents you from healing yourself or regenerating yourself. So what does that mean? So if I take damage, I'm gonna summon a husk here. There we go. Now, when you actually take damage, and it appears that sword bar again, so every time you attack or take damage, that bar gets refreshed. So, as you can see, even if I'm at full hunger, I can't exactly regenerate. And that's kind of like a combat mechanic in a sense, like combat lag, like you're in combat lag, like that sort of deal. So, when that happens, you're not allowed to regen, and also one more thing. You actually don't your hunger doesn't get reduced. So there we go. Okay. I should be start healing since the sword icon is gone now. So and there we go. So this actually makes the oracle unable to keep fighting and like stop like just to eat, because speaking of which, you're actually not allowed to eat like anything. You can't eat. Your body is made of holes and husk, and there's just no room for digestive tract in there. So that's how you just roll. So if I give myself an enchanted golden apple, you still can't have it. So that really depends on how you look at it. So it may look like a positive since you can basically run infinitely, but you can't eat, which is also a downside on its own. It's there. It's bizarre. It's just there. So that's basically what the oracle does, and that's the whole origin. So I'm gonna show you why this origin is powerful on the next bit, and I'll see you there. I'm gonna show you how powerful the oracle can get if there's like many mobs. Like here we have like a group of, I guess this is called a battalion of Vindicator. I'm gonna switch to survival mode and have them follow me around. Oh dear, that hurts. So, what we're going to do is basically just dash into them. Oh no, I think I'm gonna die here. Okay, that's 30. That's fine. We're fine. We're fine. Oh yeah. The Oracle. And I'm out of here because I'm dying. So, yeah, that's it for basically it. See ya.